everybody, welcome back to Easy Weeknight Cooking with Heart's Desire Spice Blends. And tonight we've got a really fun recipe that was brought to me at the farmer's market using our Grate seasoning. So what we're doing tonight is garden fresh fritters. I've tried this with kohlrabi, I've tried it with summer squash. They're both fantastic. So what we're going to be doing tonight, we're going to need 2 cups of shredded kohlrabi or summer squash or zucchini, 1/2 cup diced onion, 1/2 cup diced scallions or green onions, 2 tablespoons of fresh dill weed is best way to go. If you don't have fresh, you can use dry, about 1 tablespoon. You're also going to need 1 clove of garlic, 3/4 teaspoon of our Grate seasoning. You cannot go without this stuff, trust me. 1 teaspoon of lemon zest, about 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt or equivalent salt, 2 eggs, 1/3 cup of flour, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of your favorite oil to fry the fritters in. So why don't we get started? We're going to start by grating up our vegetables. Now, we're using kohlrabi tonight, which is a really fun little vegetable. It's a little strange. Now, this one's seen better days. It's a few days old, but it's a really fun vegetable that tastes an awful lot like the heart of a cabbage. It's from the cabbage family, which is really a lot of fun. So what you do with these is when you're using zucchini or summer squash, you're going to use a young one and you're just going to grate the whole thing. With these, you are going to start by cutting it in half and then in quarters, and then quarters again the opposite way. So I've got it cutting in quarter-sized wedges, and then you're going to cut along this part of the wedge, cutting the wedge in half so it's a lot easier to grate. So I've got last 2 pieces of one of my kohlrabis. 2 of this size kohlrabi will make about 2 cups of shredded kohlrabi. Because you normally peel a kohlrabi, we're not going to do that. We're going to use that rind as a protector for our hand when we're shredding this. And you're going to curl your hand like this and put this part of that piece of kohlrabi right against this part of your hand, and you're going to grate it that way. It works really well. You get a lot of that kohlrabi off of the skin and you protect your hands at the same time. So I'm going to put that point right on my grater, and I'm using this part of my hand right here to press on the most bulbous part of that kohlrabi to get that as flat as possible. Sometimes it works better than others. Sooner or later, that's the inside of that kohlrabi. You've got the skin just right there and all that flesh is off. It's great. And that's 2 cups. And we're going to break out a tea towel, a very clean tea towel. This one has been totally bleached, and it is, so you put that out on your table and dump all your kohlrabi right in the middle. You're going to pull all the edges up so that you've got all your kohlrabi in a little pouch here. You are then going to turn this and wring your kohlrabi and juice it right there. That's why, that is really a big reason we were shredding it to begin with, is so that we could just wring that puppy out. Go ahead and twist really good and hard. Get that stuff as dry as possible. And you're going to be doing this with either zucchini or summer squash, or, believe it or not, you can do this with the inside of your broccoli stalks when you're harvesting your broccoli or your cauliflower. You can do this with hearts of cabbage, anything that you just want to use all the rest of. And it's a hard vegetable that grates well. You're not going to want the woody outside. You want that nice tender flesh on the inside. And I think that's about good for this. Let's go ahead and put this juice aside. Some people love to drink this. It's really tasty. And bring over another bowl. This is when you're going to take that nice tasty kohlrabi out. And this may be a little wet. We may end up adding a little bit more flour to this. But this is when you're going to put all the rest of your ingredients. That's your salt. That's your dill. Finely minced. Beautiful stuff. I love fresh dill for this. There's nothing like it. Now, these guys are a small farm, and they actually donated the kohlrabi. So that was really nice of them. I just put in my Greek seasoning, I'm putting in my onions, and you notice I have not cut up my green onions yet. You want to cut those up dead last. So I'm going to press my garlic into there. I've got a garlic press that does a really great job pressing out all of the meat of my garlic while leaving the skin behind within the garlic press, so I don't have to peel it. It's really wonderful. Put that aside. So the next thing I want to do, I want to get my lemon zest. Now, the best way I've found to get your lemon zest is actually to use one of these microplanes. It's really nice. These are micro serrations here, kind of like a cheese grater, but they're actually a lot smaller, and they allow you to zest your citrus without getting that pith, that white stuff in with your zest. The way I do this is I run my microplane with what would normally be the bottom actually on the top. So when I run my lemon underneath it, all this wonderful zest comes out on top, and I get a good idea of how much is there. I really love it. So I am not going terribly deep on this. You see there's still a little bit of yellow left there. And then I'm going to be getting off a lot of the rest of this over here. So I am looking for that bright yellow zest. I'm not looking to get any of the white pith. That might be good. Let's take a look. And I can just scoop it right on up, and there we go. We've got 1 teaspoon of lemon zest. Put it right on in there. That's about 1/2 to 3/4 of a lemon. Not that much. So go ahead and put this bad boy aside. We're done with it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up my scallions, because really you want to cut up your scallions dead last, or else they get a soapy texture to them. I cut these in half first so that I can get a nice clean edge over here when I'm cutting both tops and bottoms. So I want 1/2 cup of scallions. And there's also another trick I want to tell you about. When you've got scallions, normally when you're just chopping like this, there's always part of the green tops that stick together in a long line of cut green tops, but something's keeping them all together. So I normally slide my knife when I'm cutting them, and that allows me to have all these tops nice and free. And I am looking for about 1/2 cup here. I really like the mixture of 1/2 cup of regular onion and 1/2 cup of green in this. I mean, you can use absolutely just regular old onion. You can use all green onion. You can use all sorts of really great stuff here. You can use shallots, the whole 9 yards. I've got 1/2 cup of green onions now, right on in. And now I'm going to put in my 2 eggs. Nummy. Now the eggs are going to be your binder here. They definitely will be keeping everything together, as well as your flour. Now this is almond flour. I love it. I've been doing this a lot. This is almond flour. I've been really enjoying it. I tried this with regular wheat flour. Go ahead and use the same measures. Measuring them differently by weight is not as critical, though this is 40 grams of almond flour. You can use a 1/3 cup of flour, and you do not pack the almond flour for this. So you can use wheat flour, you can use almond flour. I've heard chickpea does well, or all sorts of great stuff. Now I'm going to mix this together now. I've cut my ingredients in. The batter is ready to go. We want a moist but not wet texture here. The eggs are your binder. They're going to do a great job. My pan has about 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil in it. It is heating up to about a medium heat so that we can cook the vegetables until they're soft, rather than having to pull them while the vegetables are still really crunchy, as it achieves a golden brown texture. So now that this is nice and hot, my oil is running nicely and shimmering. I'm going to put about a palm's worth, the small part of your palm right here, about a palm's worth of my fritter batter right in my palm, and then I'm going to put that into my pan and form it into a fritter, flatten it out a little bit. you're going to be doing this with all the rest of the batter. Make sure that you've got this well spaced around your pan. You don't want these round in your pan. You want these to be nice and flat, but you also want to make sure that each one is about a uniform amount. So go ahead and just fill your pan, and this is going to take maybe about 3 minutes to get it all done. Sometimes you got to press them out a little bit. We're waiting for this to just kind of come together and get a nice golden brown on the bottom before we flip them. You're probably going to be wanting a fork or something like that so that you can get under those fritters and flip them without them falling apart, because let's face it, they look like they're going to fall apart. Let's go ahead and take a look. First flip, there we go. That one was a little underdone. If you do this once and you say, okay, there's just not enough egg in there, it's not holding together, add another egg. These were medium eggs, and honestly, sometimes they're a little small, so I may go ahead and put another egg in there for the next batch in the pan. And now we're gonna wait for the other side to get done, and these are just fantastic. Isn't that gorgeous? Seriously, we've got a really nice amount of browning on the other side. This is awesome. Beautiful browning on this. So fresh. Oh my gosh. I love this recipe. Ever since I tasted it at the Kennyville Farmers Market, I have truly been in love. The dill does just a beautiful job on these fritters. The Greek seasoning is not in your face. Matter of fact, I've had this recipe alongside Greek chicken recently, and it is so good. Oh my gosh. So from our kitchen to yours, that is garden fresh fritters. And we will be back next week with an installment of Easy Weeknight Cooking. If you have any questions, email me at info@heartspice.com. And we will see you next week. You keep things tasty.